Welcome to my kcse revision channel, Teacher Marita, Grigorius Boys High School. Uh, Kindly subscribe, you click the notification bell such that you get notified once I upload a new video. Today we are looking at kcse revision questions, that is mathematics trigonometric questions, questions that we will never miss in examination. So we want to look at the trigonometric questions. So you have trigonometric 1, we have trigonometric 2, and then we have trigonometric 3. So we are looking in summary the questions that can be set from the trigonometry. Now we have solved the question. The question we have sine 3x plus 30 is equals to the root is equal to root 3 all over 2, and this theta is in the range of 0 degrees to 90 degrees. So how do you solve this one here? So solving this one, so we have sine. So first of all, we have sine. So we can say that we have sine into 3x, in this case plus 30. This one will be equivalent to the root of 3. In this case, you divide it by 2. So first of all, you find sine inverse in both sides. So I'm using a very simple method. You find sine inverse in both sides. So finding the sine inverse, with sine inverse here, so we can have the sine inverse on this side. So we have that 3x plus, in this case, 30 is equals to the sine inverse of root 3. In this case, you divide it by 2. So to eliminate this sign from here, you just find the sine inverse in both sides. So finding the sine inverse in both sides, we have this as 3x in this case plus 30, which will be equivalent. The sine inverse of root 3 all over 2 from the calculator is 0.8 0.866. So if you find the sine inverse of this one will just give us 60 degrees. So you can be having this one as root 3 divided by 2 is giving us 0.66. So if you find the sine inverse of 0.66, that one will give us it is giving us 60 degrees. So if we have that one at 60 degrees, there is one thing that you need to know. To answer this question, you must use the unit circle. So we must have to have the unit circle here. So if we have our unit circle, you must have to use the unit circle here in this case for you to get this question well. So we have to use the unit circle. All the trigonometric in the first quadrant, all of them are positive. In the second quadrant, only the sign which is positive. In the third quadrant, the third tangent is positive. And in the fourth quadrant, we have only the cosine which is positive in that case. So if we have that this is a sign, in this case it is positive. So where do we have this sine 60? Where do we have it as a positive? So we have it in positive in the first quadrant and the second quadrant. Because in the first quadrant, all the trigonometric are positive. So we can have 60 degrees here. So we can find this at this 60, we find at the first quadrant, and then we can get it in the second, we get in the second quadrant. So this one will just allow this unit circle, the first quadrant and the second quadrant, that is where the sign is normally positive. So to get now this one here, so we can say that our 3x in this case, plus 30 is equivalent to the first one. You will have now 60 degrees from the first quadrant, then to the second quadrant. So we are moving like on this direction. So we have 60 degrees, which is the first from the first quadrant. On the second quadrant, we have 60 here. And half of this one is half of this circle, which is equivalent to 180 degrees. So the second one, you will just have, if we move up to here, if we move up to here, so we are an acute angle here is 180 degrees. So we subtract 60 degrees. So 180 minus 60 degrees. So we can have this one as 120 degrees. So from here we can have 3x is equivalent to, we can take this start on the other side, 60 minus that is giving us 30, then 120 minus 30, we have this one as 90 degrees. So if we want to get x is equivalent to, you can divide this one by 3. So we have x is equals to 10 degrees. And then you can divide this 30 by 3, in this case here. So if you divide this one by 3, so you get that x is equals to 10 degrees, or x is equivalent to 30 degrees. So from here we conclude that the value of x is equivalent to p 10 degrees, or x is equivalent to p 30 is equivalent to p 30 degrees. That is how you can solve this one. The main thing here, you must have to use the unit circle such that you get where the angles rise on this on the quadrant. So we move to our next question. Our next question we have that solve the equation. And our equation we have is sine 5 over 2 theta, which is equals to negative a half. And this one, the range theta must be between the range 0 degrees and 180 degrees. So this one here, the range was between 0 degrees and 90 degrees. So you can get 10 degrees, you can get 30 degrees. So they are within the range. So if we come on this side now, we have, on this side now, we have, first of all, the first thing, just eliminate the sign. If you want to eliminate this sign from this side, you find the sign inverse in both sides. So in both sides, if we find the sign inverse in this case, so we remain here with the 5 all over 2 theta, which will be equivalent to p. You find in this case the sign inverse of negative a half, which is negative 0.5. And the sign inverse of negative 0.5 is normally, this one will be equivalent to p 30 degrees. So the first thing, we find the phase angle. So our phase angle from here, our phase angle is equivalent to p 30 degrees. You get the phase angle by finding the sign inverse in both sides. Now the first step, the next step now, you use the unit circle, such that now we see, because here the sign is negative, where can we have a sign negative in the quadrant? So we have our unit circle. So if we can have our unit circle like this, this is our unit circle. In the first quadrant, all the trigonometric are positive. In the second, only the sign which is positive. In the third, only the tangent which is positive. And the fourth, only the cosine which is positive. Now from this 30 degrees here, from this sign which is equal to negative, the sign is negative. So where does it lie in this quadrant? Sign is negative in the fourth quadrant and the third quadrant. So we are getting them here. So sign is negative here. So we can get them on this side. So we have the sign is negative there, and also sign is also negative there. So we can have this one as 30 degrees. We have this one as 30 degrees on this side, and we can also have this one as on 30 degrees on that side. So if we are moving on this direction, like this one here, so from the first quadrant, if we start from, remember this one is 0 degrees, this one is 90, this one is 270, and then this one is 300, this one is 90, this one is 180, so we have 180, this one is 270, and then from 0 here, you can also have 360. So if we are moving we are getting the sign is positive, is negative in the third quadrant. So from the third quadrant here, we move. This is 180, 180 plus 30, 180 plus 30. So we have this as 210. So from there, we say 35 all over 2 theta, this one here, is equivalent to 210. Because we can have this is 80 degrees, then we find that it lies on the third quadrant where the sign is positive. So we take 180 plus in this case 30. So we get it there. So another angle now, we are getting that this sign is also negative, is negative at the fourth quadrant. So if we move like this one here to here, so if we are moving up to here, so we have the reflection angle here. So to get the angle, another angle there, it is just 360. We have 360 minus that. So 360 minus that. So we can have this one as 300, we have that one as 330 degrees. So from here we can say that from there we can just say that if we simplify from this one, you get that theta is equivalent to the 84 degrees and theta is equivalent to 132 degrees. That is, if you take theta is equals to theta is equals to, in this case, 240 times 5, 210 times 2 divided by 5, you get 84. And then theta on this one, you will take 330 times 2 divided by 5, which is giving us 132. So our range is between 0 degrees and 180. So the values of the range is very correct because we have 84 degrees and then we have 132 degrees. The next question, given that tan into theta plus 20 is equivalent to negative 0.7660. Find theta to the nearest degree in which theta is between the range of 0 degrees and 360. So theta is between that range of 0 degrees and 360 degrees. So we can say that we have this one as that we have tan into theta, in this case plus 20. This one is giving us negative 0.7660. So the first step I've told you is just to find the tan inverse in both sides. So if you find the tan inverse in both sides, we are not going now to have the tan on this side. So if we find the tan inverse with this tan will cancel out. So we remain here with the theta plus in this case 20, which is equals to P. Now you find the tan inverse of negative 0.7660, which normally gives us. So the tan inverse of that one is giving us at 70 degrees. So our theta in this case plus 20 is equivalent to P, in this case at 70 degrees. This is not enough. So the next step here, as I've told you, you must make sure that you use the unit circle to see where the tan here is negative. Where does it lie on the quadrant? So if we use our unit circle and then we want to see where does it lie on the quadrant. So we have our unit circle here. And then we have all the trigonometry here in the first quadrant are positive. Here is only the sign which is positive. The tan is positive here. The cosine is positive there. Now we need the tangent, and our tangent here in this case is negative. So in this quadrant, where does our values lie? So our values lie in the all of them here are positive. So we are getting them here. It is only the sign which is positive. If the sign is positive, it automatically means that the tangent is negative. So we find it in the second quadrant. So in the second quadrant, we have now here at 7 degrees. And again, the tangent here is positive, cosine is positive here, and the sine is positive. So also here, the tangent is positive in the fourth quadrant. So we have this one as at 70 degrees. So where is the tangent positive? The tangent is positive, be in the second quadrant and the fourth quadrant. So that is how you are supposed to solve this question using the unit circle. Now, from here we can write that our 2 theta, no, I mean our theta in this case, plus 20, which will be equivalent to. So from our first, second quadrant, so if we start from here, we have this is 180 minus, in this case, 37. So if you have 180 minus 37, so our first angle here will be 143. So we have 143. So if we move again from here up to the fourth quadrant, so we are moving a complete circle. So if we are moving a complete circle and we have that 70 degrees here, so you will take 360 degrees, which is a complete circle. You subtract, in this case, 37. So this one is giving us 323. So that is what we have. So if we have that one as 323 and 143, now we can be able to find theta. So our theta from here is equals to P. So we have 143 minus, in this case, 20. Or you can also have this as 323 minus 20. So what are the values of theta? So our theta in this case will be equivalent to, if you subtract that one, you will get 123 degrees, or theta is equivalent to be 303 degrees. So using the unit circle, you will be able to solve that one. Let us proceed to the next question. So our next question here, determine the period and the amplitude. So you can say that determine, so here we have been given that to determine the amplitude, period, and phase angle. Determine the amplitude, period, and then we talk of the phase angle, or sometimes we call it the shift angle. So the problem here we have is y is equivalent to p 6. Then we talk of sine into bracket. This is x all over 2. Then we have minus 90. So this is the question we have. So determine the amplitude, the phase angle, and also the period of this wave. This is the easiest questions. In fact, these are 3 marks. There is no a lot of work here. This is the easiest ever questions that a candidate or a student should not miss. So what we have here is y is equals to 6 sine x all over 2 minus 90. We need now 3 things from here. 1, we need to have the period. So we have the amplitude. You need to get the amplitude. You need to get the amplitude. You need to get the period. And in this case, you also need the phase angle. How do you get this one here? So listen carefully and look at it. How you can have these 3 marks. If you need the period, you just identify the value before the sign, or you identify the value before the cos. So in this case, you have 6 sign. So the value here, the number which is here before the sign, is automatically the amplitude. So in this case here, the amplitude is equivalent to 6 as you as that. You get it as like that. Because you just identify a number which is here before the sign. The number before the sign, a number before the cos, a number before the tan, that one automatically becomes our amplitude. Now, to get the period, check what you have inside the bracket. Inside the bracket, we have x all over 2 minus 90. Now you come here, the coefficient of x, in this case here, the coefficient of x here, so this one is the same as 1 over 2x, 1 over 2x. So the amplitude in this case, you take 360 in this case, you divide by the coefficient of x. So in this case here, we are dividing this one by, we are dividing that one by a half. So if you divide this one by a half, so you divide this one by half, and if you divide this one by half, you will get this one is equivalent to be 720 degrees. You get that one at 720 degrees. The first angle or the fifth angle is normally the value here. Inside the bracket, the value here. So the value there, so the first angle is normally in this case 90 degrees. So you can see how the question is free, and you can see how you can score the free marks from here. The amplitude, you just identify the number which is there, a number before the sign, number before the cosine, or a number before the tangent. If you want to get the period, you take the coefficient of x. If the number here was 3x, then our period will be 360 divided by 3. If our number here was 4, it means that our period will be 360 divided by 4. So in this case here, our number here is a half x. So it is just 360 divided by a half. That one will give us the period. And of course, the first angle is that one. Get the kcse made familiar and do a lot of questions which are in that book. So you will get, this is the questions that a student should not miss in an examination. So we can proceed that given that there is another question here. Given that cos 2, given that cos 2x is equals to 0.8070. Find x when x is between the range 0 degrees and 180 degrees. So find x when x is in that range. So this is the easiest question as I've said. Now you can look at it that we have this one as cos. So we have this is cos 2x, which is equivalent to 0.8070. So what are you supposed to check here? You find the cos inverse in both sides. So if you find the cos inverse here, we remain with 2x, which is equivalent to, you find now the cos inverse of 0.8070. So we have 2x, which will be equivalent to the cos inverse of this one is giving us 36.20 degrees. That is the cos inverse we have. Now the next very important step, it is using the unit circle and see where the cos is positive on that quadrant. So we can use the unit circle here. So you use our unit circle. In our unit circle, we know that all the trigonometric in the first quadrant are positive. Here only the sign which is positive, the tangent is positive, and the cosine is positive. Now, our cos is just positive. Where can we find it in this quadrant? So if it is positive, all of them are positive. So we find in the first quadrant, so we have that angle here as, we have this one as 36.20. And again now, we move up to the fourth quadrant. The sign is only positive here. So the cosine is positive. It's negative. So it is positive in the first and the fourth quadrant. So we have it here. This is where we have, in this case, 36.20 degrees. So where does it lie? It's a very important information that you need to use this unit circle. So if you are using that unit circle, you identify where the cosine is positive in this quadrant. So it is positive in the first quadrant and it is positive in the second, in the fourth quadrant. So after identifying this one here now, we can write 32x, which is equivalent to. So the first one we have as 36. So we have this is 36.2. So the second one, so if we are removing, the second one now we are moving up to here. So it is we are moving a complete circle. In a complete circle with the fourth quadrant, so you will have 360. You will have 360 minus 36. So we have this is 360 minus in this case 36.20, and that one will normally give us 323 in this case point. Um, you will have it in that case point that. So in our first one now we can have this one as 300 and in this case 323. So if we subtract that point 80. So to get now the value of x, you divide this one by, so you divide this one by 2, you divide this one by 2, so the vast value of x is equivalent to 18. So we have this is 18.10 degrees, and if you divide it by 2 here, so our x will be equivalent to 161, in this case 0.90 degrees. So the main thing here is by using this quadrant and the unit circle, that is the secret or the criteria of answering correct questions on this questions on trigonometry. We have come to the end of our lesson. First, find the kcse made familiar. There is a lot of these questions being done there. Just to try to follow this method I've shown you, the easiest way of getting the first angle, the amplitude, and the periods, and also using this unit circle. These are the easiest questions that a student should not supposed to miss, and they will never miss in examination. Kindly you follow my channel, click the notification bell, you subscribe, you get notified once I upload a new video. Thank you.